Okay.
Welcome to the live stream. And we're going to wait until people come in. Uh, just while we're waiting for people to come in, one of the things we're going to talk about today is what was it that I surprised my wife with this past weekend? We're going to find out, aren't we, honey?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to find out what exactly was it that I surprised my wife with.
And I was surprised.
Yeah. She had a couple guesses, right? And they were good guesses. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's just one of the things that we're going to talk about today. And, I just got done mowing the grass. That's why I like to wear this hat. So I'm doing that right now. But, I mowed the grass a little while ago. I just actually got done mowing the grass
Hello.
10 minutes ago. So we got
Hello,
some
Pete.
people coming in.
Pete's little homestead. Hello. Hello, Thomas.
Thomas Schmidt Homestead Project.
Yes. Welcome.
All right. Our friend Malachi is here.
Hey, Malachi.
All right.
Is it just you watching Malachi, or are you showing all the children too?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Well, I at least get to say hello to them.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
know.
birthdays happening at that house.
Should I be nervous that everybody's watching us?
Tracy.
Nah. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about what was it that I surprised my wife with, and talk about that a little bit. And we're going to have to pot our tomatoes soon. It was going to be tonight, but it was just so hot outside, just kind of hot and sticky outside. I decided to mow the grass instead. So, but we're going to be doing the tomatoes tomorrow morning. We're going to do that when it's nice and cool, in the cool of the day. The best time of day to get your chores done is in the cool of the day.
Get up early.
Yep.
Sister Angela's watching. Hey,
Ah.
sister.
Okay. All right. All right. Now I think I might be getting a little nervous. Nah.
You're crazy. That's all I'm going to say about
But
that.
let's see here. So we have the tomatoes. We're going to be potting those in the morning, and they really need to be potted. I think that they're going to be getting root bound, or they're probably already root bound, no doubt. But we'll go ahead and revive them and bring them back. It'll be a project. But really, we're just barely getting this garden thing to work this year. So we're barely getting it. So I'll talk about this more in the video, but we're not even using the right dirt. But we're improvising. We're mixing different types of dirt together, different types of things we're going to mix together, and it's going to turn out to be pretty good soil after we mix it. But yeah, the stuff that we're using is not supposed to be used for what we're using it for. And you'll see that whenever we make the video, but we're going to be working on that tomorrow morning, potting up the tomatoes, and we have a lot of tomato plants, and I would hate to see them go bad. I mean, they've made it this far. Hopefully we can get them through to the final finish where we can actually eat some tomatoes from our own garden. Wouldn't that be nice?
I think if we could just get them in the bigger pots, and also I need to fertilize them. I think they'll be fine.
And also my wife's working on a video with lettuce.
I planted some lettuce in our raised bed so we could have salads.
So she's going to do a couple more video shots of that, and you'll probably be done with that pretty soon, huh?
Actually, I could have it done tomorrow.
Okay, so that's another thing coming your way is learning about the lettuce. And also along with the tomatoes being potted, we're going to pot up the broccoli and the brassicas and stuff that we have as well. Just get everything in bigger pots. And like I said before, it's a strategy to keep them from dying on us. Just give them a little bit more room for the roots. Put them in a little bit bigger dirt area inside of a pot. Instead of these small little things, you get a bigger pot. So that will actually give us a little bit more time buy a little bit more time so I can get the raised beds built and get them filled. That's the hard part, is getting them filled. And then once we get them built and filled, then we can transplant them over. And then we'll be like, whoo! So we're juggling together a garden this year. We're garden juggling.
Well, I have a lot of seeds. I hope the tomatoes do well, but
And we have other
if they
seeds we're
don't.
going to plant too, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we got some green beans that we're going to plant.
Mhm.
And so what else do we got, honey? I'm not really sure.
Green beans,
Other than what we planted already. Just ones that
Okra.
were direct plant. Yeah, okra. And we definitely want to plant some okra. We love okra. We like to put them in soups and different things, but we like to have okra. One of the favorite things that I like that my wife makes is vegetable soup. And she puts okra in that, and it makes it very, very good. So that's one thing. Okra, green beans, and I think we're going to try peas, aren't we?
it's too late. We'll do it in the fall.
Too late for peas?
It's too late. It's too
Okay.
late. Maybe a fall crop of peas. We could do that.
Okay, fall peas. All right.
We can do that.
Basically, we're going to try to do whatever we can. We're trying to throw everything together. So we'll see what
I
see
forgot
what
what
comes of it.
seeds we have. We just went through them not too long ago, but I forgot.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going over to get the seeds. I thought
Oh.
that's what you were getting.
I went for my fan, but I can get the seeds.
She's going to get the seeds. Let's see who else is in here. Okay, we've got 120 acre wood. Welcome. All right. And I think we've already said hi to everybody so far. So, yeah, whenever she comes back and after we talk about the seeds for a little bit, then I will reveal the surprise that I surprised my wife with. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So everything's going pretty good. Like I said, it was a little hot today, but we're just going to have to get used to it. We're going to have to get used to the heat. Right now we're trying to run the air conditioner. It's the first time it's been run this year, so we're going to give it a shot tonight. Hopefully it works pretty good. I'm trying to cool down the house. Whenever the sun goes down and the house is cooled down, hopefully it'll be nice and comfortable for this
We
evening.
have some Swiss chard.
Okay, we're going to plant these, or is this more for fall? The
I'm going to have
Swiss
to read
chard.
up on. They could be fall.
Rhubarb red, Swiss chard.
You know what? This might be my. Oh no, we got some watermelon and pumpkin.
But some things, if you plant them too late, don't they bolt in the summertime?
Swiss chard. You know what? That might be a fall crop. I agree.
They might bolt or
But
something, right?
we have watermelon and we have
Oh, we can plant some watermelon.
and pumpkins,
And oh yeah, pumpkins. I like pumpkin pie.
cantaloupes.
Pumpkin
Sorry.
pie. And we got some melons. Oh, hold on. I got something I got to tell you. Okay. We got right here watermelon, and we have the Minnesota midget melon. Right? Why couldn't the watermelon and the melon Minnesota midget, why could they not get married?
Oh,
Eh?
oh, please. No.
Hey, anybody want to guess? Why couldn't they get married?
I know.
Cantaloupe!
You're crazy. You're just plumb crazy.
Oh, I just had to, honey.
You had to?
I just had to.
Here's some dry beans. Shell beans. And some more.
Okay. And if you don't like my jokes,
Radishes.
I guess if you don't like my jokes, I could always squash it.
Tracy, you're crazy. Oh.
Squash the jokes.
Oh, 2 wild onions. Hello.
All right. So what else we got there, honey? That we're
Um,
going to plant into the ground, hopefully.
Hopefully. Lord willing. Lord willing.
So far, it's looking like melons and green beans and what else did we say?
Those
Okra,
are some nice dry runner beans. Those are
runner
runner
beans. Yeah, these might be the beans that we plant. These nice runner beans. I'm a big. I like runner beans.
We have another squash
Yep, another squash.
and corn.
Corn. Interesting. Will we plant corn?
We could save it for next year. I could
We could
freeze
plant
it.
corn possibly. I don't think it's too late for corn. It all comes down to how much space we end up having too. Because once we get the raised beds in and we plant all the starters that we've started, and we got to figure out what's going to go where. We haven't done any garden planting at all,
No.
so we're gonna have
Well-
to figure that out.
We didn't really want to make any plans until the house was sold.
Right, and it got sold on Thursday.
Praise the Lord.
I almost wasn't going to say anything about it.
But anyways, so it's just a bunch
Okay.
of seeds.
So we got some seeds we can direct plant. So
Yep.
it won't only be tomatoes, and it won't only be
There's
cauliflower.
cucumbers in there.
Oh, cucumbers! Now that's something we can plant. Cucumbers, they grow quick,
Mm-hmm.
so we can do cucumbers for sure. I love cucumbers. I like them in salads.
120 Acre Woods is laughing at you.
Someone
It
thought
says-
I was funny.
And so is Malachi.
What does the grape say when you step on it? What does the grape say when you step on it? Ouch.
No, what? Please tell me.
I would say nothing. It got squashed.
No, it has to say something.
You never know.
Wait, nothing.
It just let out a little whine. I was close.
Oh, you were very close.
I was close. So close.
Oh.
All right. So I think there's enough people in here.
Yeah.
Yes, we sold the house. That house is not ours anymore. All right. And I'm very excited about that. And things have already started to change. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, we were going to talk about what?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
I got to talk about the house being sold before we get to the surprise. I was gonna surprise my wife with because the house was sold. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Okay.
So the house was sold. Everything went well. We barely made it. Actually, we was about 10 minutes late.
We got
And-
lost.
Yeah, but I did notice that morning when first I started a little bit late. I figured, well, it's probably an hour and 15 minutes would give me plenty of time, right? I got out to the car. We put it all in the Google Maps, and it said it's going to take an hour and 17 minutes. I was like, oh no. I thought it was only going to take an hour. I thought I was giving myself 15 extra minutes, but we were already 2 minutes behind from the beginning. But anyway, even with the stop signs, stop lights, and everything, it seemed like we got perfect timing on the road. Like, just when someone was in front of us that was slowing us down a little bit, it opened up to a 2-lane passing lane. So then we were able to pass right past them. So we made the best possible time we could. We hit almost every single green light except for 2.
Yeah.
We only hit 2 red lights the entire trip.
That doesn't usually happen to
Yeah.
us.
So that was really good. So I think we made the best possible time. We started going to the courthouse, and no one there seemed to know where it was. So then we just started walking down the street, just guessing, and we found the place. But we were 10 minutes late.
Well, they all told us they were running a little bit behind too, so it didn't
Right. Didn't really matter.
It didn't really matter.
So everything got done. Everything got signed off. And we got our first little check, but that went straight to the bills. And now we're in a lot better shape. I tell you. Let's see. What did we pay off with that? I got my student loans caught back up. So my student loans were behind by a lot. I think the last time I paid on my student loan was somewhere like October sometime. So it was getting pretty big. So that's paid off. And what else did I use to pay on that? Let me see. It was the student loans was one. Oh, our car payment was behind. Was basically a month behind. So I had to make 2 car payments. So 2 car payments got paid. The student loans got caught up. And all of our regular bills got paid. The water, electric, and all that stuff. Actually, we didn't have to pay electric. Because our electric is from the same company on both places, whenever we shut the electric off on the other place, they took our deposit and applied it to our bill here, so we're kind of paid ahead on our electric. So that kind of worked out really good in our favor. So basically, not all of our bills are paid up to date, We still have to deal with our credit cards.
One is caught up though.
Well, no, we're not. It's not caught up. I put a payment on it,
Yeah.
but it's not caught up. I got an Amazon card. Well, I guess they're not really credit cards. They're store cards. Okay, I have a Amazon card, a Sam's Club card, and a Lowe's card. And because we were so far behind on them, they got charged off, and two of them got sold to other people. So the only way to pay them off is to pay them off in full. I was hoping I was able to pay like some minimum amount, like maybe $100, $150 or something to get them restored, but I was already too late for that. But I paid some money on the Amazon card. It hasn't been sold yet to another person, so I'm hoping to get that paid off before it gets sold. That way it doesn't hurt our credit as much. But we are on the road to recovery, for sure. And I've got some strategies to get those things taken care of. But the main thing is no more mortgage payment. And I don't have to pay utilities over there anymore. So no more utilities in two places.
Yeah, it was dragging us down.
Yeah, that was really a hard thing to do. No more mortgage payment. I already said that, but no more mortgage payment. If you have a mortgage payment, then maybe you understand what I'm talking about.
Thomas Paine.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we know who he is.
I know who you are.
Yeah. Part of the family. Okay. So we got all that taken care of. So we are on the road to recovery financially. Probably just still take a couple months for the dust to settle, so to speak. But I would imagine about 2 months from now, we are going to be nice and set.
Catch our breath.
Yeah. And there are a few other small things I did spend some money on out of that check. Now we're going to start talking about that. Now what we did is on Saturday, we went out to eat at Famous Dave's Barbecue. Has anybody ever been there? Famous Dave's Barbecue? I really like it. I discovered the place. I can't remember exactly how I got a hold of it. I think it might have been from one of these scratch and dent stores. We go to stores, usually run by Amish or Mennonite, and they sell food that's like in cans that's been dented, or maybe it's gone past the use by date.
By a month.
Yeah, or whatever. And they sell it at a very reduced cost. It's probably the cheapest food you're going to buy from the store. And we go there because we try to save money. And I think I got it from one of these places, but it was Famous Dave's Barbecue Sauce. Now, there's a story behind this, a little bit of a story. I normally hate barbecue sauce. Actually, whenever I was younger, like, say, all the way up until age 25, I hated all and every barbecue sauce. Someone tries to give me barbecue sauce, I'm like, get that away from me. I can't stand it. I didn't want to try it. And part of the reason why is because I don't like to mix my sweet and my savory together. If I've got nice savory meat like some pork ribs or some chicken or some kind of beef brisket or something, I want to taste that savory meat, right? I don't want it to be mixed with sugar, right? So I don't like it. But Famous Dave's Barbecue Sauce was the first barbecue sauce I actually loved. I didn't just like it, I loved it. Right? Now, I've kind of loosened my my standards on barbecue sauce a little bit. I do also like the Sweet Baby Ray's. That's the one my wife introduced me to. That one's okay. It's not the best because it is pretty sweet. But it's also kind of spicy, and it kind of offsets the sweetness a little bit. I like spicy. So anyway, back to Famous Dave's. Best barbecue sauce I've ever had. So then I found out, they've got a restaurant. Oh, wow. So I went there, wonderful food. It was great. And then my wife, I took her there, and she loved it. So we went there again on Saturday to Famous Dave's Barbecue, had a wonderful meal. What did you have, honey?
Baby back ribs.
Okay.
Yep.
What
And-
was what
and
was it?
cornbread.
What kind of barbecue sauce did you get with that?
Sweet and zesty.
All right, the sweet and zesty. All right. She likes nothing. Now this is the thing. She likes nothing but sweet on her barbecue.
Yeah, I don't like hot.
She doesn't like spicy in her barbecue sauce at all. She likes
I
very
can handle
sweet.
a little bit, but as long as there's a sweet hint to it, so I can handle it.
So really, like the Sweet Baby Ray's, that's the barbecue sauce that both of us like a little bit. She likes it because it's sweet. I like it because it's a little spicy. So it's kind of like a middle ground on us on the barbecue sauce. But she likes the barbecue sauce I normally don't like. You know, and for the same reason I don't like it is the same reason she does like it. But we all have our preferences, and that's just fine. We usually just we work around that, don't we?
Mhm.
We just make something like we got wings, and I like hot wings, and my wife she just likes sweet barbecue wings. So when I ordered them at the restaurant, I ordered the wings with nothing on them, and they have barbecue sauces right there on the table, so you can pick whatever you want to put on it, and that's what we ended up doing. So I had my spicy
Yeah.
hot barbecue wings, and she had her regular sweet and zesty barbecue wings, and both of us were happy. And then that was the appetizer. Then you had the baby back ribs. Was it like a half rack?
Mm-hmm.
Half rack of baby back ribs. That was nice. Of course, we did not eat all of it at the restaurant.
No.
You take it home with you. That's how you do it.
Well, we ate some, and then I
Right.
took mine home.
Because you have to save time or save room for dessert, right? Dessert. Now I had beef brisket, right? I got to say it was okay.
Oh.
I was a little disappointed. It tasted like it might have been boiled. It didn't have a smoky flavor to it at all. I don't think they smoked it. And with
Mine
brisket,
was very
yeah,
smoky.
yeah, yours was very smoky. I probably should have got what she got. But yeah, mine wasn't smoky at all. I didn't really complain. I don't like to complain or anything like that. It just wasn't as good as I thought it should be. Probably next time I go there, I'm probably not going to get the brisket. I'll probably just go with the ribs next time. But it's still very good. It was good. Especially the barbecue sauce I put on there. What did they say that sauce was? They brought like a special sauce out just for me.
Oh.
Something revenge. Wilbur's Revenge?
Wilbur's Revenge.
Yeah, Wilbur's Revenge.
It was. It was. I didn't taste it, but my husband said it was really, really, really hot.
She wouldn't have been able to handle it. I got to tell you.
I would have got sick.
Yeah, she would have got sick. So
I would have got sick.
I didn't even want to let her taste it, but it had habanero in it, which gives it a little bit of a kick, if you can understand that.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I could taste it right away. He's like, "Why don't you try it?" And I put my finger down there, got a whole bunch of it on into my finger. I'm like, "Oh, I'll try it." Oh, you know, and most people probably think, "Oh, that was a big mistake." But yeah, I could feel the bite right away. It was like, "Oh, that's got some bite to it," right? And then it gradually increases heat as you go. So the heat doesn't go away; it just sits there, and it's residual heat. It's like residual floor heating, but I got residual mouth heating with the hot sauce. But yeah, that was hot stuff. And I actually used it's called Devil's Spit. I don't care for the name, but that's what they call it. It's a hot barbecue sauce. I was using that hot barbecue sauce to cool down my tongue from this other stuff.
It gave him hiccups.
Yeah, I got hiccups. 3 times I got hiccups. 3 different times. So that was pretty good, though. All in all, it was a very good meal. We enjoyed it. We had a great time. After that, we went to
Cheesecake Factory.
the Cheesecake Factory.
It was crazy though.
And
It was packed.
yeah, there was so many people there waiting and waiting. We didn't want to wait, so they have this thing where you can either wait for a table, and we weren't going to eat dinner. We already had dinner. We just want to eat dessert. So there's this other thing where you go up to the, I guess it's like a case, like a baker's case, and they have all the cheesecakes inside the baker's case.
You can choose
And there's
them.
some people working behind the counter, and they're right there at the cash register. If you've ever been to the Cheesecake Factory, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you guys get it to go. You just get it real quick and leave. And that's what we did. And what kind of cheesecake did you get, honey?
It was a peanut butter.
It was
Reese-
Adam's Reese's peanut butter
Yeah.
cheesecake.
Mhm.
And
It was very rich.
very rich.
It wasn't awful or anything, but it was just very rich. Very, very rich.
Yeah, I think.
I could only eat a little bit of it.
And what did you tell me? If it was maybe tasted more like cheesecake, you'd probably liked it better.
Yeah, it tasted like a rich peanut butter parfait kind of thing. Like you just tasted the sweet peanut butter. And I would have liked it maybe if that was like swirled into a regular cheesecake so I could actually taste cheesecake. So it didn't taste like cheesecake. And it just tasted like this peanut butter, rich peanut butter. Now, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't awful.
Yeah, it tasted good. It's just super sweet.
It was just really, and I wanted cheesecake.
Right.
And I thought it would taste like cheesecake, but it didn't. So.
Right, it didn't. So then I got the Oreo Dream.
But he loved his.
Oh, yeah. And Oreo Dream, it's actually got regular cheesecake. Then it's got the Oreo, like an Oreo brownie on the bottom. And then it's got chocolate fudge on top. And, all kinds of stuff. Had a big old Oreo cookie thing on top there. And a lot of whipped cream. It was actually pretty good.
He loved it.
Yeah, and it'll be probably a long time before you eat any sweets again.
Yeah, we're going off sweets.
Yeah. Sweets are bad for you, but we do enjoy them from time to time, especially whenever we're trying to celebrate something. So yeah, it was a very good time. And then as we were eating the cheesecake, that's when I revealed the surprise.
Yep.
So tell us what your two guesses were, honey.
My two guesses were that he was going to surprise me with like a day of camping, maybe an overnight hike with camping, or it was going to be like going to the Ark Encounter or the Creation Museum. We really enjoy those two places. The Ark Encounter, we've been there several times. We were there on opening day, and then we've been to the Creation Museum, which I have a tendency to like even a little bit more than the Ark, but they're both very nice places. And the Creation Museum is actually being done over now and renovated and changed. And so I thought that was it. I thought he was going to get a hotel room and we were going to go up there for the weekend and go to one or maybe both, but it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't either one of those. And those were excellent guesses, I got to say. Whenever I was doing the live last week, actually, I'm going to have to give her some partial credit because actually, what I had in mind for the surprise actually was the Ark Encounter. And, usually when we go to the Ark Encounter, we usually go to both. And that's the way you should do it. You go to the Ark Encounter one day and then go to the Creation Museum the next day. And that's a really good combination. And that's what I originally was going to do.
And if you don't know anything about the Ark Encounter or the Creation Museum, they're both just across the border into Kentucky below Cincinnati.
Well, they're actually spread apart. One is where you said, just below Cincinnati, right into Kentucky. That's the Creation Museum.
Yeah, not far.
But the Ark Encounter is a good 30 to 40 minutes from there between that Cincinnati area and Lexington.
Yeah.
So it's about halfway between that area. So you got to drive quite a bit to get there. Probably, I think about 45 minutes maybe.
I don't know if it's
it's a ways. It really is. We usually stay in Florence, Kentucky. They have really good rates on some nice hotels. We stay there. We'll go to the Ark Encounter the first day, come back, spend the night, and then early next morning go to the.
Yeah, I think it's halfway in between the Florences. Right?
It's closer to the
Creation
Museum, but it's not, it's just a really good place for hotels, and I think it's 45-minute drive from that hotel to the Ark Encounter, so it makes it where it's not so bad. But yeah, that's what I was going to do. That was going to be the plan. But then I was sitting in there on the computer, and I was thinking about things, and I came up with a better idea. Yep. Than either one of those. And I know that my wife likes to go camping, or actually she's never been camping. She likes to go hiking. She's always told me she'd love to go camping, and we still may do that sometime this year. but that's not what I picked either. And I know she likes those things, but I got something better than either of those, in my opinion. What do you think, honey? You think it's better? I know you like hiking awful lot.
It's right up there.
It's right up there. It's hard for her to say.
I like that better than the hiking, but
Mhm.
it's really really close to the Ark Encounter, and
Yeah, it's really close.
it's really close. I would like both of them.
We're talking about some of our favorite things to do. That's what we're sharing with you today. So, what was the surprise? What was it?
You're
Suspense!
You're crazy.
Okay, I'll tell you what it was. I bought tickets to Sight and Sound production of Jesus, taking place in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, in a place called what was that place called? I can't remember the name of it. It's it's on the tip of my tongue.
Ephrata? No.
No. Anyway, it's in Lancaster County, Amish country, but it's not an Amish thing. If you've never heard of Sight and Sound, they have this huge facility where they have this 3 stages. They have 2 side stages and a center stage. Now, the center stage is 4 stories high, right? And they do full-size sets in there. They'll do like a countryside, or they do seaports. They do these life-size sets that the actors move around in.
Egypt,
big Egypt setup in there, depending on what play that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they do plays. You get to see a live play being acted out in front of you. And,
Musicals.
Yeah, musical plays. And I've never really been a big fan of plays. I've never really liked musicals that much either. But whenever I first saw what they put together, it's just simply amazing.
They have live animals coming down the aisles to go up onto the stage with you, right in front of you.
Yeah, live animals that are trained to do things at certain times, and the actors interact with the animals. Sometimes people ride horses right up on stage.
Whale.
They'll come in. They'll come in with a donkey and a cart, a cart being pulled by a donkey. They got these big cows with these huge horns on them.
Scottish Highland.
Yeah, Scottish Highland cows. I mean, real animals. All these real animals that are interacting in the play, and they make it part of the story. Like we have it in our video library. We have Noah, and Noah was just completely filled with animals, and it's just amazing what they had those animals do. So it's really amazing how they did that.
They also have a place in Branson.
Right, Branson,
theater.
Missouri.
They have a theater in Branson, yeah.
But this year they're not playing the production of Jesus in Branson. They're playing, I think, Samson. Samson's being played in Branson right now. But in
Strasbourg, is that the town?
No,
Okay.
no, it's not that. Oh, I used to know what it was. I could probably do a quick search on it.
They just said Strasbourg and like they knew it.
Okay, let's take a look here.
I think it is in Strasbourg.
Well, maybe it is. I don't know. It's not the place that I remember them saying.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. But do you see Strasbourg anywhere?
No.
Okay.
It's out in the country. I knew that it was out in the country around one of the bigger cities.
Ronks.
Ronks.
That's what I was trying to remember. It's in Ronks, Pennsylvania.
Ronks.
Ronks. That's where it is. But
it's in Amish country, so.
yeah, so it's in Lancaster County, but there's a lot of things to do. If you go there and spend a couple days, you can go around and there's like Amish people walking everywhere. They have all these little shops and things you can go check out. It's all kind of commercialized, but for the people in that area, that's how they make their living.
No. I'm from Ohio, so, and we probably didn't really get to drive around and see everything in that area of Lancaster County, but I really, it's very pretty, very beautiful, but I think my heart enjoys the Ohio Amish country, which is oh, Berlin and Walnut Creek and Sugar Creek. Yeah, Creek, Sugar Creek.
Right. And the thing about Amish is they actually they have good Amish restaurants.
Yes, they did have very.
And the Amish food that they have there, if you've never had Amish food before, they have like roasted chicken, and they have like the Swedish meatballs type stuff. It's kind of like a mix between good home country cooking, that's in America, like good home American country cooking. It's a mix between that and German food. If you've ever had German type food, it's like a mix between the both of those, and it's really good food. I really like the Amish restaurants they have there. So there's a lot of things to do other than to watch the play, but these plays are absolutely fantastic.
Take your breath away.
Take your breath away. They act out parts of the Bible, and
did we tell them what one?
yeah, I already told them what one.
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about some of the things that they've
remember.
done already.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of them in our library already. They've done the story of Ruth. That was pretty good. That was all right. They have the story of Joseph, right? Joseph, going into slavery, then going from slavery into imprisonment, and then coming out of imprisonment, and eventually being put second in command of all of Egypt. So I encourage you to read that Bible account. I don't really call them Bible stories because these things really took place. So I call them Bible accounts. But they did a really good job on the account of Joseph. Also, another thing that they did was really well is the account of Noah, which we already mentioned Noah.
Mm-hmm.
All the animals,
It was
amazing
great.
how they did all of that. The actors, very good. They have very good singing voices. Everything is just really wonderfully put together in that production. Very much worth watching on DVD. And then we have been there before.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we have been there before.
One other time.
And for the account of Jonah. So we watched Jonah in Lancaster County a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple years ago.
Yeah, we're not real close. We're about 11 hours drive away from Lancaster.
About
down here in Kentucky.
11 and a half hours.
Down here in Kentucky, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a long way to be in the car. But anyhow, very good, very well done productions. We went and saw the Jonah in person. That's the one you're talking about, the big whale.
Mm-hmm.
The big inflatable whale that goes across the top of the crowd.
They did an under the sea scene where they had bubbles coming up everywhere, and they had people up on stage. They had coral reefs displays, and then they had people dressed in black, and they turned the lights out, and all the fish puppets were in iridescent colors,
yeah,
glowing light, so that they would shine through the
basically
light.
it's a black light.
Black light, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, black light. And so people were dressed in black, and then they were doing the puppets going through, and it looked like fish swimming everywhere, coming down into the audience, swimming all around, and it's dark and then they had jellyfish coming down from the sky, from the ceiling.
Now, that's another good part to say. They don't just stay on stage.
No.
They come out into the audience.
Yep.
The animals are going through the audience.
The actors come out and leave the stage.
It's very three-dimensional.
Very.
It's not like you're seeing some story up on the stage. No, it's all around you.
Yeah, it's a 3-stage. There's a stage in front of you, a stage over here, and a stage over there. So most of the scenes are done in front of you, but then they'll do a scene over here, and then they'll do a scene over there, and they'll flow into each other. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Last time we were there, we sat pretty close to the front, and whenever we were watching Jonah, there's this big ship, right, that we were literally looking up at. We were so close, we were looking up at the ship. right? And it swung out over the crowd,
Off
and
the
both
stage.
of us were like, whoa. Because it felt like it was going to hit us. It was so close. It was like, whoa. Obviously,
It wasn't going
It wasn't
to.
going to.
But it
You know,
felt like
they're
it.
very safe. But because of how close it was and how fast it was moving and stuff, it surprised us. And we were like, whoa. You know, and it was just very, very good production. Very well done. It's hard to explain if you haven't been there.
You should look it up.
Yeah.
Sight and Sound Theaters.
So anyway, we're going to see the account of Jesus, the
Oh.
gospel.
Okay, I thought you had already. Okay.
And, you know, we mentioned that already, but I'm going to kind of get into that a little bit.
Okay, good.
You know, they're going to bring that story, and that's the thing that they say. They like to bring the account of the Bible to life, right? And sometimes they do add some things, which I think everybody does to some degree. They do add a few things, and there are some things that don't get included because how do you fit 3.5 years into 2 hours or an hour and a half? But of the ones that we've seen, they have all the essential things in there, and it really is these Bible accounts being played before your eyes for the most part, as much as you can do on a stage. Let's put it that way. So they do a very, very good job.
Which one was your favorite?
My favorite was Joseph. We never got to see that one in person.
But we had the video.
Yeah, we have the video. We have the DVD. That is still my favorite. I really like Joseph. In second place, I would have to say Noah for me. And we didn't see that one either, but it's just really good. I would love to be able to see that one in person.
They're bringing it back.
Yeah. I think it's going to be in Branson, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. In 2 years.
In a couple years, it's going to be in Branson. So I'm hoping to see that then. And then after that would be Jonah. And we did see that one in person, and it was a really good production. But I just enjoyed the other two a little bit better, I think. You know, but it was still pretty good. Still pretty good.
I think Noah and Jonah are my two favorites.
Right. So anyway, that is the surprise. That's what I've surprised my wife with, and I think you were surprised?
Very.
Very surprised. And I bought the tickets already. That was part of what I used some of the money for. I think the tickets were like $79 each. So it's just like $160. And already have them purchased. All we have to do now is just get there. And last time we did drive 11 and a half hours. We're not going to do that this time. This time we live about 2 hours from the airport. We're just going to drive to the airport 2 hours, fly over there to Philadelphia, and from Philadelphia, it's just an hour from Philadelphia.
Drive.
Right, we're just going to drive, and I think about 40 to 45 minutes from Philadelphia, there's a hotel that I'm looking at staying at. It looks like a nice hotel, so it's 45 minutes from Philadelphia, which would put it about maybe 15, 20 minutes from the theater.
Oh.
So that makes sense. So after we get there, we're going to check in, and then we're going to go out to dinner in Lancaster County. Really nice food. One of these Amish restaurants. And then after that, we're going to see the production at 7 p.m.
Oh, the same night.
Oh, yeah, this is all on the same day. We're going to fly out that morning. Oh, did I tell you that part?
No, you didn't, dear. You didn't tell me that part.
We're going to fly out that morning, early Saturday morning. We're going to be flying out there, and then we're going to check in by the afternoon, and then we're going to go out there and get some dinner around 4:30, something like that. Have a really nice dinner, and then we're going to go over there and then get our tickets and watch the show at 7. And then after the show, back to the room, and then early the next morning, back on the plane, fly home. Pew! In, out. Right? Altogether, I figure 2 hours or 2.5 hours plus another hour and say hour 20 minutes. So it's 3.5, about 4 hours driving, right? Each way. So it's about 8 hours of driving compared to 23 hours of driving.
Major difference. Yeah.
8 hours, 23 hours. Take your pick. I've chosen.
You're funny, dear. Ethan Howard.
So
Doing.
I just wanted to share that surprise. I mean, we're excited about it. It's something that's near and dear to our hearts, and these are the types of things that we get excited about, right?
He likes surprising me too. That was a part
Right.
that he liked a lot.
Yeah, I love surprising. If you can't tell, I love the surprise, and she doesn't mind being surprised, which makes it good for the both of us. I like the surprise, and she doesn't mind being surprised. So that's good.
So we're getting close to.
Oh no, we're fine. So that's just basically what we were wanting to talk about. Like I said, we're trying to get our garden going, and like I said, once our bills equalize a little bit, which should only take about a couple months, and I'm going to kind of throw different things in there as we go. Like probably even before the bills are caught up, I'm going to have to do something about the raised beds. We do want to get rabbits again. So that's one other thing. But I think the rabbits might wait until later in the year. Maybe we might not even get them till like the end of the summer. Because you can't really breed them in the summertime anyway. Because if you try to breed them in the heat of the summer and it's like 90 degrees out, all the bucks, all the male rabbits are sterile because of the heat. So when it gets too hot out, your male rabbits are going to be sterile.
It gets really hot here.
Yeah, so you can't breed them in the summertime anyway. The best times to breed is fall, winter, and spring, like late spring. Those are some good times to breed rabbits. But in the middle of summer, not happening. So they're not really as a big a priority as like maybe the quail. Quail only takes 6 weeks to get to laying, and as far as I know, the heat doesn't really affect them that way. They can lay eggs all summer long, so that doesn't really affect them.
Someone asked you a question.
Okay. Have you tried container gardening for now? That's kind of like what we're doing. We're putting everything in pots, doing some container gardening, but the containers that we have, I have a bunch of pots outside that are old nursery pots. And they're probably about 6 years old, right? But they're still usable, and we're going to use those. The reason why I have those old nursery pots is I started off like 6 years ago with I think I had 600 blueberry bushes. I had 600 blueberry bushes. And my idea was I was going to start a blueberry farm, and I was going to sell blueberries, and I was going to make money to support myself on that, and everything was going to go well. Well, it didn't turn out that way. Here in Kentucky, the blueberry market dropped out. The method that I was going to use to sell the blueberries, that method disappeared. The Blueberry Growers Association disbanded for the most part. And I think they're still around, but I don't think they do anything anymore. So the blueberry thing, and there's a lot of reasons why that happened. And I don't think it has anything to do with whether or not they were selling. They had customers and they were selling blueberries. But the organization that had everything held together, they just couldn't keep it together, and it just fell apart. So that's just the way that goes. The farmers didn't want to work together, and it was kind of a co-op. So if you're in a co-op where farmers do not want to work together, that co-op is not going to last. It's really not going to last. So that's basically what happened. But the blueberry dream died. Now, I do have some blueberry plants left, but because of years and years and years of neglect, most of my blueberry bushes have died. I think I've got maybe 20.
No. You got more than 20 of
More
them.
than 20? How many do you think?
I'd say you probably got about 40, 45.
Okay, about 45 blueberry bushes out of 600.
Yeah, there's a big difference, but
Right.
I'm just glad we still got 40.
So, I made a video on it in the past about how I separated the bad bushes from the good bushes. And there is a video, you can look that up. It's called The Blueberry Parable. You can watch that, and that kind of shows me separating my good bushes from my bad bushes. And the majority of them were bad. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the old dead bushes out with the dirt that's in those pots. I was taking the whole thing out with the root ball and everything, and throwing that in a compost heap. I'm gonna let that compost and break down, and then emptying out the pots, and then using the pots for tomatoes and what we need to pot. But they're just 1 gallon pots. So you can keep a tomato plant in a 1 gallon pot for a little while, but I wouldn't want to do that for the entire season. Probably if you're going to do it for the whole season, I'd probably want to use at least a 3 or a 5 gallon pot for that.
Someone asked you about planting blueberry bushes in planters. Loving Ivy Farm said, love blueberries. Is there a plant that works well in containers?
Blueberries all work well in containers, but you have to do it in stages. You have a small little typical garden pot, a little starter pot. You can start a blueberry bush in that, and you keep it in that for several months until the root ball gets really established, and then you want to move from that to a 1 gallon pot. And you can leave it in the 1 gallon pot for several years. And then once the roots reach the edge, which they will, the thing about blueberry bushes is the root ball continues to get bigger and bigger. They can get pretty big. So you go from the 1 gallon and you can jump from to a 5 gallon pot, and that also lasts you several years in a 5 gallon pot. And then eventually you want to get up to a 20 gallon pot, either a 15 gallon or a 20 gallon. The 20 gallons are more expensive, but those are really the best ones to use for a full size plant, is a 20 gallon pot for 1 bush, right? And that's the final resting place for that blueberry bush. Now if you keep in that 20 gallon pot, you can keep that blueberry bush producing blueberries for at least 60 years. 60 years in that pot, producing blueberries. And there are some pros and cons to container gardening. The good things is you control the soil it grows in. Because with blueberries, you have to have a low pH. It's got to be acidic soil. So what I use is Canadian sphagnum peat moss. And Canadian sphagnum peat moss, because it comes from Canada, and most of the trees up there are fir trees, cedar trees, fir trees. A lot of those are like that. So the trees themselves are high acidity. So the peat moss that comes off of those trees is high acidity. That's why you don't want to use American peat moss, because the trees in this part of the world, down in our country, are not as many acidic trees. There's a lot of other trees that are non-acidic that's mixed in with the peat moss. So if you don't know what peat moss is, it's literally the forest floor that they scoop up and they shred it and they bag it.
It's a bog. They cut it out.
Okay, it's a bog. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
There's different videos I've watched on how they get peat moss, and that's just one of the things I saw them do. But anyhow, Canadian sphagnum peat moss has got a high acidity, low pH. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, that's the best thing.
Whether or not I get the details right or not, it's not as important as that detail right there. That's a very important detail. So you use that, and I don't mix it with anything else. There's some people like to mix their peat moss with dirt. I think that you're kind of playing against yourself, because you don't need that. You don't need to put regular potting soil in there. You don't need to use compost. All you need to use is 100% Canadian sphagnum peat moss, and that's it.
That's it.
That's your soil. And it's got the perfect pH. Now, you do have to fertilize them, and I used the Neptune's Harvest cold-pressed fish emulsion. It's got to be cold-pressed, because if you get the fish emulsion that's gone through a heat process, it pretty much kills all the benefits. Any heat process is usually bad, right? But if you get the cold pressed fish emulsion made by Neptune's Harvest, that's the company I know that makes it. You take that and you mix it 1 part fish emulsion to 10 parts water. And basically what I would do is I put, I think, half a cup of fish emulsion to a 1 gallon jug. And I think that's how I mixed it. And then you mix it up really good and you put that on your blueberry plants, and that fish emulsion is the best fertilizer for blueberry plants because it is low in pH and high in acidity. Right? You see a pattern here, right? So that's what you use to fertilize. And since it is a natural fertilizer, you have to do it probably once a month during the growing season. You do not have to do it during the fall and winter season. Only through the spring and early summer. And then after after you've picked all your blueberries and everything, and you're getting ready to go into dormancy, probably right around, I would say, August, September. Right around August, September, you want to stop fertilizing. You don't want to fertilize past September. And then it goes into dormancy, and then the root ball works. It works on making the root ball stronger. Those are just some basics about blueberry plants. There's a lot more to it than that. Your blueberry plant will start to produce after the 2nd year, but you do not want to allow it to produce the 2nd year. You want to pinch off all the flowers. Do not let the flowers become blueberries. Pinch them all off on that 2nd year. And what that's going to do is that's going to make the root ball stronger. And as a result of pinching off the flowers on that 2nd year, you have a stronger and a hardier plant. That's going to give you more longevity. That's how you get that 60-year plant to last 60 years. Okay, in the container. In a container. Okay, that's important. So these are some of the things you got to do. Neem oil is good to keep the nematodes and the pests, and also the fungus issues. If you're in a humid area, you could expect to have fungus issues with blueberry plants. So you have to be aware of that. And then also a container is like a raised bed. And they do well in raised beds because if you plant a blueberry bush on a flat area that gets too much water, you're going to get root rot. So you want to have it on a raised bed. Even if you plant it in the ground, you want to use a raised row. A raised row. If you're in places like where I'm at in Kentucky. In Kentucky,
we get a lot of rain.
Yeah, you get a lot of rain here. So if you don't use a raised row with your blueberry bushes in the ground, you're not going to succeed. But in a container, it's a raised bed, is what it is. But the con with having it in a raised bed is when you water it, the water goes through it, and the water just drains off, which the plants do well with good drainage, but it just means you have to water them more often. But the good thing about the peat moss is once the peat moss is moist, it stays moist for a long time. But you do not want the peat moss to get dry, because if the peat moss gets 100% dry as a brick, then it's going to kill, and it's going to start drawing moisture out of the roots of the plant, and it's going to kill that plant. That peat moss, it doesn't matter where it gets the moisture from. Either it gets it from your watering container or it gets it from the plant. It's going to soak up that moisture like a sponge from somewhere. So you always want to have it slightly moist. Not drenched, but just a slightly moist. You don't want it to be rock hard dry, right? So you got to keep on top of it. It requires some maintenance, but you can have blueberries year after year for 60 years out of a container just fine if you do all the things you need to do.
Yeah, and you could even put automatic waters onto them.
Yeah, you can do drip irrigation. That works really good. You can set up. It's very easy to set up drip irrigation for each individual pot. You just run a small little 1/4 inch hose off of your main hose, and it taps right into the side of it. If you've ever worked with drip irrigation, you know what I'm talking about. It just taps right into the side of the hose, and then you run that little 1/4 inch hose up into the pot, and then you have your little emitter that the kind I like. It kind of shoots it up like a little fountain, and it shoots it up like a fountain because you need all of that peat moss to get wet. You don't want it to dry out. So you want the water to kind of spring out onto the peat moss a little bit. So that's what I do for the container gardening, for the blueberries, for the watering is, you want to do drip irrigation because otherwise you're going to go out there with a water hose at least every day during the, probably once every couple days. Once every couple days in the spring. As you get closer to summer, it goes once every day.
Every day.
And sometimes twice a day when it
Yep.
gets really hot.
Once in the morning, once in the evening. Yep.
Right. So you just don't, you have to keep on top of your plants. And I've got a whole book on it. And I've read articles from universities, really deeply knowledged on the issue because you have to be. You can't just go into blueberry bushes winging it. You can, but you're probably not going to get the results that you really want. And it's good to have honeybees. If you have honeybees or the Kentucky bumblebee, it's good for us. If we have the Kentucky bumblebee in our area, that's a good thing. Because
Watch out for
the pollination is important. You don't want carpenter bees.
carpenter bees. Bad.
Yeah, carpenter bees, their little stylus or whatever it's called on their little beak or whatever you want to call it, is actually too short to reach down to the bottom of the flower. So carpenter bees, they cheat. They drill a hole in the back of the flower. A lot of times when they drill that hole in the back of the flower, it kills the flower. And then if you know anything about how fruit works, if the flower dies, you don't have any fruit. So carpenter bees are an enemy of blueberries. Or actually, I'd say they're an enemy of any fruit tree. You don't really want carpenter bees in your fruit orchard. You want to take care of those. And there's traps for those. But I hope I haven't bored you too much with all the things about blueberry bushes.
He knows a lot about blueberries.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with my blueberries, and it's a miracle that they're even still alive. But now that I, are coming out of this financial blackout, if you want to call it a financial blackout that I've been in, maybe I can put some money towards a drip irrigation system for the blueberries. A lot of them need to be potted up to bigger pots, and maybe I can start getting a harvest off my blueberries. I really want to get something from it. That would be nice. And even though I've only got 45 plants, as long as I've got at least 2 varieties, that's good for cross-pollination. And you can always propagate your plants. And propagation is the best way to do with your blueberries because you're cross-pollinating them. So you don't want to plant the seeds because if you plant seeds from a cross-pollinated plant, it's actually a hybrid of something. It becomes something else. It's not what you think it is. It's not like a what do you call it? Forgot the names of the thing. Blue jerseys, or I can't remember what they're called. Okay, it's been a while.
Blu-rays.
Yeah, there's the Blu-rays. Thank you, honey.
And
Berkeley's, and all these different
jerseys,
varieties.
yeah.
All these different varieties that are out there for the northern high bush is what we've been growing. Those mixed together, you're going to get something else. You're not going to get those cultivars. But if you propagate them, you will get the exact cultivar that you propagated it from. And propagating is you prune it, which you need to prune them back. That's all part of taking care of the blueberry bushes. When you prune back the bushes, you take off a cutting from those branches and you take it and you put it in the ground. And what I do is I'll create a bed full of Canadian sphagnum peat moss about that deep. And then I take them, I stick them down in there. And you do that in the fall, early fall. You like right around August, early September. You put that in the ground like that, and that's a good time to do some pruning on your bushes anyway. And you put that in the ground and water it and keep an eye on it all winter long. And then that spring, you should start seeing the new growth. The new growth from that cutting should start springing up that spring.
And then you got a free bush.
And then you got a bush, right?
You got a free bush coming.
Right. So that's how you grow your blueberry orchard, is through propagation. And that works through a lot of other, there's other fruit trees and fruit bushes that does work with. But it definitely works with blueberries very well. Because I remember seeing Texas Dad from the Texas Boys. He was propagating fig trees.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing basically the same thing that I just explained, but doing with fig trees. So it's something that can be done with a lot of different things. But
I think mulberry trees also.
yeah, mulberries.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely does work with blueberries. It sure does.
2.5 acres. Hello, 2.5 acres. Welcome.
All right. Yeah, those carpenter bees are everywhere. Loving Ivy Farm just said that. They are everywhere. But they do make these little traps you can get to trap and kill them. And I'm sure they have a bit. There's always a benefit to certain insects. I just don't know what theirs is. I don't know what the benefit is to a carpenter bee. I'm sure that there's something. Maybe they kill other pests. I don't know. I really don't know.
The Lord made them for a reason.
But I know that if I've got blueberry bushes, it's bad for that. I know that. So, but I love bumblebees. Are great. Never kill a bumblebee. Bumblebees are even better pollinators than honeybees because they're little stylish little things. They're longer, and they go around and they're a harmless bee. You gotta really get one angry to get one to sting you. It's a very harmless bee. A bumblebee could land right on you and not do anything to you. They're very friendly bees, very nice bees to have around, and they are the best pollinators when it comes to bees. They are the best pollinators you can get, is bumblebees. So,
on a chilly morning, I used to have a flower garden a long time ago. On a chilly morning, I'd have a bumblebee. They're very slow when it gets cold at night. And so it was like a fall morning and it was still kind of chilly. And he was kind of slow to move, but I was able to pet his wings and pet him. And then he started waking up and he flew away. But yeah, I was able to just pet him. And
yeah, they're very docile.
mm-hmm.
And if you see, and now you might want to wonder, how can you know the difference? Because carpenter bees, they look a lot like bumblebees, don't they?
Yeah, there is. Yes.
Yeah, they look a
There's
lot
a
alike.
difference.
Yeah, there is a difference. And the easiest way to tell the difference between a bumblebee and a carpenter bee is their bottoms. Right? A bottom of a hind end or bottom. That's how we say it. We say bottom. Of a carpenter bee is shiny. It's got a shiny bottom. A bumblebee has got a fuzzy bottom.
Yep.
So if it's got a fuzzy bottom, that is a bumblebee. Leave that thing alone. Let it do its job.
And they do look very, very similar.
Right.
The shape and everything.
Right.
Until you look at the bottom of
Right. So if you look at the bottom, if it's shiny, it's a carpenter bee. You want to kill that thing, if you can.
If you can.
Right.
They're pretty fast.
In my opinion. There might be someone out there that says, no, don't kill the carpenter bees. But, I'm just telling you, blueberry bushes, whatever it is the carpenter bees do, I don't know. Blueberry bushes, that's what I think is more important for me. That's what's more important in my context. Kill the carpenter bees. That's kind of like my...
carpenter bees are destructive to
yeah, it's just
flowers.
It's just really bad for the flower. They drill into the back of the flower. They kill your fruit. If you get ravaged by carpenter bees, you're not going to have any blueberries that year. It's just that simple. So if you got a whole lot of carpenter bees on your bushes, you're not going to have any fruit. That's just the way it is. But the bumblebees, you want to keep those bumblebees. They are golden to have bumblebees.
Oh. Grow where you're planted. Hello, grow where you're planted. Hello from.
Yeah, and you know the carpenter bees, they do pollinate, but they drill into the back of the flower, often killing the flower, destroying your fruit cluster. That, I mean, if it wasn't for that, I'd have no problem with carpenter bees.
I even like wasps. Wasps are very beneficial. If you're trying to do organic gardening, wasp and there's ones around here called mahogany wasp, and they are a little bit. I've never really had one go out of their way to sting me, other than I actually put my hand on it and it stung me. I didn't see it. But they don't normally sting, and but they're very big predators. They're eating mosquitoes. They're eating things that will attack your orchards. I know of a gentleman who has a organic orchard that's permaculture, where he has bushes down below and the trees up above, and he says that the wasps are great beneficial bugs, that they kill a lot of bad bugs that will caterpillars. They eat caterpillars, so I don't like killing wasps unless I have to. Yellow jackets are the same way. They'll eat bugs also, but they're a lot more aggressive. And
Yeah, they will attack you.
they will attack you. But most of the time, wasps, if you're just careful of them, they won't.
We
attack
had a wasp nest at our old house,
Yes.
and it was on the basement door, and I could walk in and out of that door, in and out of that door, flying around my head, and they never even bothered me.
They never tried to hurt us. Never.
They never attacked me.
We would dodge them. I mean, we would try to
Right,
go the
I'd
other
get out.
way.
I try to get out of their way, but really, there's been a couple times I even forgot they were there. I just walked right through there, never got stung.
Yep.
So you really have to be antagonizing them
Yep.
to get them to do anything to you. But now, yellow jackets, if they even see you anywhere near them, they will chase after you and they will attack you. I know that there's some benefit to having yellow jackets, but I don't like having them around, because if they are around, they are going to sting you. I'm just telling you. I like to have the yellow jackets far and away from me.
Oh. He Googled that they are good pollinators.
Who's that?
Rocky Homestead. I Googled it. Carpenter bees are good pollinators.
Right, but they're really bad for blueberries. I
Other plants, maybe.
I can't say this enough. Their little stylus is too short to get to the pollen inside of the flower. So they drill into the back of the flower. They put holes in the back of the flower, and they destroy that fruit cluster. Now, I'm talking about blueberry bushes.
I'm not talking
And
about other plants.
You can do some research on blueberry bushes and find out that carpenter bees are bad for blueberries.
Well, I caught them doing it to our blueberry bushes this spring.
So a bunch of our flowers have holes in the back of them.
They had, they're all, But yeah, they had holes in them, and I had to chase a carpenter bee away. And from the flower that it was on, there was a hole stuck right in the back of it. And not just that one, but the whole bush was covered. He had been spending, Anyways, they do that. They really do.
So they spread pollen. They sure do spread pollen. But they also drill into the back of the blueberry flowers. It's bad news. It's bad news, I'm telling you. I mean, if you want to get blueberry bushes and you want to ignore the carpenter bees, go ahead. But you'll find that you're not going to have a lot of blueberries that year.
Yeah.
And you're going to wonder, why did the flowers all die off? Well, could be your carpenter bees.
Oh, sorry to hear that, loving Ivy Farm, that you got stung 10 times. I am sorry to hear that. I got stung right here, and my hand swelled up down into here. It didn't go any further, but it took me over a week and a half for the swelling to go down back to normal completely.
Yeah, coming up from the ground, that might not be a wasp. The wasp that I know of, they like to make their nest in trees.
Paper wasp.
The paper wasp, they make their nest in trees or like in the
Eaves.
eve of
Yep.
a door,
Eaves of the house.
eaves
too.
of the house, places like that. Put it up high.
Barns.
If it came out of the ground, I think it's called a mud dauber.
Yes, it is a mud dog.
Now those will sting you.
Yeah, they're very aggressive.
and it hurts really bad.
Wow, you got stung by a mud dauber. Ooh. Yeah, they hurt
I
really
think
bad.
I think those are called mud daubers. But
Looks
yeah.
like a bumblebee that came out from the ground. Wow.
And I don't know anything about Africanized bees. That's something new to me. And hopefully you do not have any of those in your area. Because I heard that those are very aggressive. And enough of them could actually kill a person, from what I understand. So you got to watch out about those. But
Yeah.
I couldn't identify an Africanized bee if I wouldn't know one if I saw one. Other than it probably just attack you. It's probably what it'll
Yeah,
do.
Loving Ivy Farm. That's how I got. That's how I got stung. Not in the in the boot, but I was closing the window. I was bringing down the window for at nighttime, and ours were like bus windows. Like you have to push it in and then bring it down. They're trailer windows, and so I stuck my hand up in there, and he was up in there trying to get out. He stung me hard. But he didn't. Otherwise, I had wasps trying to get in the house all week long, and I was shooing them out with fly swatters. Never once had one dive bomb me and try to hurt me. They always just would leave, and so I don't think it meant to hurt me. It was an accident, but my husband killed him anyways. It hurt me, so he killed it.
Yeah. Get a little bit of payback there. All right.
Oh, you're funny, dear.
But anyhow, I just named the video. I didn't realize this because we just kind of threw this together last minute, like we've been typically been doing. But
Yeah.
I had to change the title to the video, so now the title of the video is actually "Sold the House, Revealed the Surprise, and Planning for the Future."
Yeah.
So that's what today's video has been all about. And we've been around for about an hour or so, so
Yeah, we're way over.
we're going to go ahead and call it a night. And we do want to thank you all for coming. And hopefully you'll continue to come on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. I'm going to start trying to get some things planned and have a little bit more organization to the shows on Tuesday nights. I've got some ideas, but we'll see. Maybe some of that take place next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Grow Where You're Planted Homestead said that I just wanted to stop and say thank you. You were my first subscriber. Oh, you're so welcome.
That's nice.
We know what it's like. We had like 10, 12 subscribers for a long time, and we were like, how are we going to, and it got up to what, 15, 16, we're like, how are we going to get any higher? And
Yeah, I think we started off with 6.
Yeah.
And 2 of them was us under different accounts. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we did that.
So we had 4 of our friends. So they're all just people that we knew, and that's how we got started. 6 subscribers.
So I'm glad I was able to be your first subscriber.
Yeah, then we grew to 16, and then we went to a conference and went from 16 to 32. But yeah, we've just gradually been growing.
We should send everyone that's on here right now, you should go over there
And just check it out.
to check out their channel and
see if you
Grow
like it.
Where You're Planted Homestead.
Yeah, see if you like
Help them out if you
If you-
agree with their channel.
it. Right, if you like their videos, just go ahead and give them a subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Please
we don't
help
we don't tell anybody that you have to subscribe
No,
to
we don't
anybody.
like that.
But if you like it, subscribe to it.
Yeah, that's how we believe.
You're right. All right, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. We want to thank you all for coming, and thank you for sharing in our joy of finally having the house sold.
Yep.
And
Praise the Lord.
we did a little bit of celebration already, but the big surprise is coming in July. I forgot to say that. July 6th is whenever we're actually going to watch the Sight and Sound production of Jesus in Lancaster County in Ronks, that's Ronks, Ronks, PA, July 6th.
Well, I just want to say that you're very good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, dear.
Oh, yeah. now I'm going to enjoy it too. And you might not know this, but my birthday is July 4th. So July 6th, it's going to have a secondary meaning. It's also going to be kind of like my birthday party almost.
Okay.
So not only am I surprising my wife with it, not only were you using it to celebrate selling the house, but it's also going to be my birthday celebration. So multi-purpose, okay? Multi-purpose.
Yep. There we go.
Oh yeah, hit 125 subscribers. That's good.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, good night, and thank you for coming, and see you next Tuesday.
Yes, please come.
7 p.m. Central.